And it as you should. What issues come to mind when you go around talking to the people about your candidacy and encouraging them to vote for you? What types of issues come up?
Well, when you go around door to door, I did a really heavy door to door campaign, and the local problems are different from a nationwide, county problem. So the first thing on the county problem, everybody was talking about the rate increase, the 34% tax increase. It was the highest increase ever in Davidson County, which really has impacted the daily lives of most Nashvillians. We priced them out of their homes. Public safety, it's no big secret that we are understaffed in the police department. As Nashville has grown, we have not grown with it, with our infrastructure, our equipment for the fire department. We've not had any more new fire department houses built since we've grown, and everybody can only imagine, look how we've grown. So you can only say that we need more firehouses. That's the two things that I'm finding most of. People want public safety to come back around and be at the level that it needs to be, and that we should have thought about the 34% tax increase coming off of the pandemic, and it's really affected their daily lives. People that made Nashville such an historic Nashville cannot afford to live in Nashville anymore.
Well, a lot of these mayoral candidates that I've had on, Jennifer, they love to talk about, quote unquote, affordable housing. But there was only one that said, hey, the way that you really get to affordable housing is to roll back some of that property tax increase that was passed a few years ago. Would you be supportive of something like that if you had a mayor that was supportive of it, to roll back some of those property tax increases for the citizens of District 10?
I probably would. It's funny you should say that because, people say, well, we gave increases to the fire, the police, and the teacher pay. Well, no, they didn't, not the 40 council members. The residents of Nashville gave that to them with the 34% tax increase. We're the one that funded that. So, yes, I feel like there's other ways that we can find. We got to dig into those accounts, find out where the excessive spending is, and find other ways to do stuff like that.
And Jennifer, people want me to get you to spell your last name because already folks are interested. Maybe they live in District 10 or they know people that do live in District 10. How can people find out more about you, and how do they spell your last name?
Frensley,
okay.
And then Webb, Webb.
And do you have a website or do you have a Facebook page?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Jennifer Frensley Webb for Metro Council, District 10, and then www.jenniferfrensleywebb.com.
There's absent the issue of affordable housing, and you mentioned the issue of crime. I don't know if District Number 10 has an issue with homelessness like some of the areas in the Metro Nashville region. But is that on your radar screen? Are folks as concerned about that? Because it's just there's a different feel when you get out Goodlettsville way than downtown. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, so of course, city of Goodlettsville doesn't allow it. But yes, around Davidson County, actually, there's a little a harbor village there on the Madison side of District 10. They have a homeless camp, and they have reached out to me. And I think the first step is I personally would vote to make the panhandling illegal. Most of the counties around us do not allow that, and I think we need to follow suit with that. That would be my first step in trying to get that a little bit more under control. And plus the safety issue of that. It's amazing that more people that are homeless are not killed every day just from them being out on the street every day.
And we've talked a lot about the decision. Today, we've talked about it a little bit in the first part of the show, but we've talked very much about the renovation concepts at the Speedway. And I'd like to get your take on that. And if you were on the council, how would you vote on that?
Well, I'm not privy to the deal, but I don't know if you know my history. You probably don't. I don't know if you remember. I come from a family of drag racers. My dad and Bob Glidden started driving drag cars in the 70s. And, of course, I was a drag racer, and I'm still into drag racing. I just prefer to go straight than round tracking. I have a good friend that was track champion out there at the NASCAR, Lori Binkley. They have a legacy out there. So if the plan works for Nashville and the taxpayers don't have to pay for it, I would definitely be in for saving the racetrack.
And several on the super text line while we talk here, Jennifer, are asking me. I know that when you run for Metro Council, you don't run as a Republican or a Democrat, but speak to your basic government philosophy. Would you consider yourself a Republican, and how would you represent the people of District 10 should you be selected in that seat?
I am a very conservative thinker. You know, I have voted both ways. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that over my lifespan, of course, I'm 57, that I haven't voted both ways. But at this point in my juncture, I'm a conservative thinker, and that's how I would vote most of the time.
And specifically on schooling in Metro in Nashville and Davidson County, you know, we've got a director of the school system there that refuses to allow SROs in elementary schools, school resource officers. Inexplicably, they're turning down the state's money, $5.25 million. Have you thought about that issue, and where do you stand on it, if so?
You know, really, I haven't thought about that issue much. It's not been on my radar very much. But, you know, I feel like any kind of safety issue, no matter how it happens, we ought to be for it, period.
Well, Jennifer, it's good to get to know you via the telephone. You run in good company. I'll tell you, anybody that's a friend of Tommy Cunningham's a friend of mine. So
Well, I appreciate that. He's one in a million.
Well, you know, thankfully, you're right. He's one in a million. Thankfully, we only have to deal with one of them every million. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Tell him I said that. But look, best of luck to you. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know, okay?
For having me on, Matt. I look forward to it again.
It's a wonderful conversation. Jennifer Frensley with us. She's running in District Number 10 for Metro Council, running against Zach Young. We had Zach on talking about the racetrack and thought, in due fairness, that we ought to have Jennifer on as well. It's 1:31, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and quick timeout. Hey, coming up in a moment after Matt Moore does the news, an official Matt Murphy movie review. Oppenheimer, baby. That's on the way next.
.232, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. 91 degrees in Nashville. Full weather forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Right now in East Nashville, officers found 29-year-old Eric Reed shot in his apartment. This was on 5th Street, happened just after 10 o'clock this morning. He died later at Vanderbilt Medical Center, and police are still looking for that suspect. In New Jersey, the lieutenant governor has passed away. Derek Dennis.
Sheila Oliver, New Jersey's lieutenant governor, passing away in a local hospital where she was admitted for an undisclosed illness on Monday. Oliver made history as the first black woman to serve as Speaker of the State Assembly and had been serving as acting governor while Governor Phil Murphy was traveling out of state. Her family releasing a statement announcing her passing, calling her a distinguished public servant, cherished daughter, sister, aunt, friend, and hero. Governor Murphy also releasing a statement saying selecting Oliver as his lieutenant governor was the best decision he ever made. Sheila Oliver was 71.
Right now in Tennessee, a person died in a crash that included a passenger car and a train in Springfield today. The crash happened around Matthews Road and Kinney's Road. We're learning more, and you can stick with Super Talk 99.7 WTN for the latest on that story. And we are learning today about extreme turbulence that hit a United Airlines flight. This happened last Friday. It injured 2 flight attendants. Alex Stone.
The flight was in the air from Newark, New Jersey to the Dominican Republic when the Boeing 737 hit severe turbulence. 2 flight attendants, presumably not buckled in, were injured. The plane diverted to Myrtle Beach, where the flight attendants were taken off and went to a hospital. A passenger also had minor injuries. The FAA says it will investigate. United saying in a statement it's grateful to its crew for their focus on safety.
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Summertime is often considered to be outdoor painting season for the painting company, for Nashville Painting Company, I should say, because that is the time where they can anticipate the weather best. Although there's an occasional pop-up storm. When there is, they run inside and they paint the interior of your home or the interior of a home where they've got interior work to do. I'm telling you this, that I've never met a better painter or a more efficient painting crew than at Nashville Painting Company. Jeremy Reeves years ago was in charge of painting my house in Birmingham, Alabama. Then he moved to Nashville, created a company, and it's been going a decade strong almost now. Nashville Painting Company is not the most expensive in town. They're simply the best. They do better work. They have better warranties. And, of course, they're licensed, bonded, and insured. Of course, they're local. And they appreciate you, their local community. They give back to said local community as well. Nashville Painting Company for all of your painting needs. If it's an interior job or you're looking at some of the chipping and fading on the exterior of your home, time to get that thing spruced up and painted. Nashville Painting Company, 615-635-0350. 635-0350. It's Nashville Painting Company. It is 2:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being around. Oh man! You see this this French daredevil who was all over social media because he would climb these skyscrapers and eventually you fall off of those things. He fell off. French daredevil who gained social media fame by taking photos of himself on tall buildings throughout the world fell to his death from a skyscraper in Hong Kong last week. Yeah, he would get on top of these things and he would take the selfie stick out and he would take the photos of himself. Hey, look at me. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. DRT. You know what that stands for?
Look at you quoting Taylor Swift.
You know that? What? That is not a DRT is a Neil Bortz quote.
No, I'm talking about play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
That is not a Taylor Swift quote.
Yes, it is. It's from Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince.
I'm going to go ahead out on a limb here and say that play stupid games, win stupid prizes was probably a thing before Taylor. But I don't know.
Nothing good starts in a getaway car.
Well, one thing I do know is this this dude, Remy Lucidi, is DRT, dead right there, right on the side of the street where he pummeled to his death due to his inability to hang on, I guess, as it were. By the way, one of our listeners has, I wish you could hear what we talk about during the breaks. So
No, I'm very happy that they can't.
maybe Mac Morey knows the answer to this. What was remember the movie Ice Age?
Oh, yeah.
Was that a sloth?
It was a sloth.
It was
wasn't
not a sloth that was trying to get the acorn, that was constantly obsessed with the acorn. And that was a squirrel.
That was a
wasn't
little.
it wasn't a squirrel. It was like
It's like a squirrel more than it was like a sloth, for
Yeah.
sure.
It was like a prehistoric squirrel.
Looking it up right now.
I'm trying to figure out what type of.
Name
I
was
love that little creature.
Scrat. And I don't see
What was I?
saber-toothed squirrel.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it was a
There we go.
saber-toothed squirrel.
There we go.
So, one of our loyal listeners on the super text line, I'm going to try to be nice because he might be the next mayor of Nashville and I might want something out of him. But someone suggested that if our squirrels are dead for Super Talk TV, maybe we could get Freddie O'Connell over here to help us out. To which I said, oh, my Lord, you just hit on something. Freddie O'Connell looks like if we were in a movie and a squirrel got turned into a human being, that's what he looks like, right? Is that fair? That's probably not fair.
It's kind of mean.
It's not mean. He does. He's kind of scruffy looking. His hair's kind of mussy.
Don't think it's necessary to say that.
It's not mean, is what you're going to go with.
No, I don't think it's mean. I think it's endearing. I think it's endearing.
Aw.
That squirrel. I mean,
Squirrel.
I guarantee you,
Freddie, if you're listening, I repudiate this whole thing.
I guarantee you, if you find Freddie on the street right now, he's got nuts in his pocket. What do you think? I bet he's. That's mean. That's mean, Mac. How
What?
dare you?
Oh, come on.
Have you seen Oppenheimer?
Dude, I haven't. How was it? And how was it without spoiling it? How was it?
Well, I'm not going to spoil it. I wouldn't do that. I cannot.
Spoiler alert, they
I'm a
bomb
little-
Hiroshima
Yeah, I guess-
and Nagasaki.
I guess we know,
Spoiler
yeah.
alert, we made a bomb. So, and Oppenheimer was in charge of it. So it's a historical drama, very accurate in terms of his life arc. Apparently, people have wanted to do a movie about Oppenheimer for quite some time, and Christopher Nolan tackled it. I'm a movie, I won't say a snob, but an aficionado. I mean, I go for the practice of filmmaking, but I also go for the storyline. It is 3 hours long. It does not feel that long.
Ooh, that's great.
Because, I mean, it starts fast and it goes fast, and you do not feel that there are any significant lulls. I love the fact, and I don't think I'm breaking up anything here. You know that you're going to see the bomb go off, right? The test bomb go off. There are a couple of things that he does. One, that happens almost kind of middle to middle back of the movie. It's not the end, because that's kind of not the question we're asking ourselves.
I like that.
We're asking ourselves is, we're dealing with Oppenheimer's mental trauma over what he created and what it had the ability to do, versus whether it was a positive thing or a negative thing, and how he had no control over it after he delivered it. I mean, he was literally told, there's one scene, I'm not giving anything away, where he's told by the military, look, you've done your job. Thanks a lot. Now we'll decide what happens from here on out. But great filmmaking. I can't say whether it's worth going to IMAX or not, because obviously I've not seen the film outside of IMAX, but I'll tell you this. That one scene alone is worth the price of going to IMAX to see.
Incredible.
Oh, my God. It's so good.
I gotta go.
It's so
You
good.
talking about when the bomb goes off?
Yeah, when it goes off. It's
Well, see,
just
that to me
so
is like,
good.
that's the big selling point of IMAX, is watching that explosion.
Oh, so good.
awesome.
It's just incredible. And what he does with it, and I won't give it away, but the way that he does it, and there's a certain a thing that he uses, device as a filmmaker that he uses at the moment that it goes off, that I think it makes it so much more impactful. But great acting all the way around, a lot of stars in the film, and based on my research that I did before and after, historically accurate. Now, it deals with communism, obviously, because America was dealing with communism and the Red Scare. A lot of American government officials were worried that we were allowing people that were sympathetic to the communist cause to infiltrate our most sensitive secrets, and Oppenheimer was one of those. And eventually, and this is a part of the historical record, so I don't think I'm giving anything away, he has his clearance pulled from him for a lot of reasons that are detailed in the film. But I cannot find, and I'm a nerd about this stuff, cannot find anything technically wrong with the movie.
Wow, that's incredible.
Stylistically, he is right on point. Some of the devices that he uses to help us understand Oppenheimer's genius, right on point. The acting is absolutely brilliant. Kenneth Branagh plays Neil Bohr. It's not Neil Bortz.
Well,
Neil
isn't he
Bohr.
using
Niels Bohr,
color versus black and white to show perspectives from different characters and
Well,
stuff?
that's right, because and it's timing too, because he jumps around a little bit in time. They do some back flashes and tell a little bit of the backstory back in the day. They jump to present day, and then they jump. It's kind of almost a jump to the future, but you'll understand it when you see it. The way that they manipulate time is pretty cool too.
Who did Robert Downey Jr. play?
He played a muckety muck with the Atomic Commission named Lewis Strauss.
Is it a meaty part?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's the central
Supporting
antagonist in the film.
He's like the supporting actor, kind of. He's like the.
Robert Downey Jr. will get a nomination for a supporting actor.
So he was incredible. That's what I've heard.
I
Okay.
don't have any doubt.
Wow.
And I told Erica after the film, as much as good of a job as the lead did, and I forget his name, and I'm sorry if he's listening.
Cillian Murphy.
Killian
Murphy.
Cillian Murphy.
Yes.
As good of a job as he did, this was a role that was made for Daniel Day-Lewis 15, 20 years ago. Like, I actually thought, man, Daniel Day-Lewis would do a good job. He did a good job, too, but I remember thinking that. Gary Oldman's in it. He plays President Truman.
Matt Damon's in it, right?
Matt Damon does a great job in the film.
He plays a general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Josh Peck is in it, which is a younger star. But
Casey Affleck, which is the talented Affleck, is in it.
Oh, how did Florence Pugh do?
Hey, great. No,
She's the main woman.
She's
right?
also the more rapey kind of Affleck. What? Haven't you heard about all the sexual?
I don't know. I don't know anything about any of that. I don't follow any of that. But I rescind my comment about his talent. I don't know what to do there. He seemed to play a pretty good job. But yeah, good film. And yes, there is and this is not giving anything away, but there's a scene where, for the time period, they have a lot of people they're celebrating the successful test. And then subsequently, they're celebrating the fact that it performed over Hiroshima. They're celebrating at Los Alamos, New Mexico. And there's a scene where a number of the people in the crowd are holding American flags and are waving American flags. And this was supposedly in 1945. And the small American flags have 50 stars on them. And someone noticed that. And so now there's all this speculation of how in the world could they allow this to happen? There should have been 48 because Hawaii and Alaska weren't states. And, this was intentional on the part of the director because he wanted to indicate, because it's a memory that Oppenheimer was having. And I think they just grabbed some flags and they had the wrong number of stars on them. Myself,
if you're sitting in the crowd and you're watching it and you're rewatching it,
and it's a real brief scene, by the way,
so you can count the stars on an American flag, you really need to get a life.
Any word on 8749 wants to know, any word on why CBS has put stations on standby for a special report? They're probably awaiting the possibility of an indictment of Donald Trump. Are you anticipating that this afternoon too, McMorris? You're on watch for that, right?
Yeah, that's what all signs are pointing to here.
Yeah, there seems to be an indication that the grand jury in this case has come out with another decision. And we're
another
on
ham sandwich.
We're on alert for. That's right. You can sue a ham sandwich in the United States of America, and you can indict a ham sandwich as well. And that seems what's going on. So I imagine that's going to come out in the next sometime this afternoon. So there you go. John writes on the super text line, Matt, does the movie have the old look like other World War II movies, kind of dull colors? I like that classic look. Great question, John. They bounce from crisp color to dull color to black and white. There are three different sections. The dull color is his flashbacks to his youth and his days studying with other people. The crisp colors are supposedly, quote unquote, present day. And then the black and white they're actually flash forwards to a time later on after the creation of the atomic bomb, when Oppenheimer kind of went a different direction in terms of his thoughts on nuclear proliferation, which has never been a preferred word for me.
Did Erica like it?
Yeah, yeah, I don't think she liked it as much as me because I'm kind of a little more into that sort of thing than her.
Makes sense.
But she was attentive and active and never once went to the bathroom, and that's a big deal for her. 180 minutes not going to the bathroom.
Wow.
And the IMAX theater is pretty cool. I mean, have you been? If either of you've never been, oh come on, that screen is.
That's an experience. It's like it is.
Well, and the sound. She did say she has some ear issues, some eardrum issues,
okay.
and the sound was loud enough at times, but it just immerses you into the experience. But the sound was so loud at times that it kind of blew her away. But
Where are you? I know you just saw it, so a little recency bias could be in there. But I mean, Dark Knight Rises, Inception, Interstellar, Tenet. Like, where does this rank on Nolan films for you?
I believe, man, I loved Interstellar. It is probably number one. I mean, wow. I have every expectation that Oppenheimer. I have not watched a lot, so I can't really say. But Oppenheimer will be nominated and probably win an Academy Award for Best Picture. That's how good it is. Every part about the film, every moment in the film is well done. And there's a line in the film that I wish I could tell you about.
I'm seeing it this
though,
weekend.
that a movie about the atomic bomb would be loud.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Yeah. But it's funny because they start out, you know what the funny part about it? They show the testing and they start off, they're behind this little mound of dirt. And this is not giving anything away, I promise. They're behind this little mound of dirt and they're testing theories that they've come up with on blackboards and whatever. And you just hear a little, like it's poof. It's like a little poof. And they're like, okay, well, and then there's another test later on and they're still behind the little mound of dirt barrier. And
so was the little poof, was that like a misfire?
No, it was like that. It was a little test that they were doing.
Oh.
But the next test that they did, like you just see all of this shrapnel and dirt come over, and some guy goes, well, that's very interesting. Said, yeah, we need to move backwards. That's what we need to do. We need to go that way. Anyway, no, 9.5, maybe 10 stars out of 10. It was great. 251 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast. Have you listened quite yet? I mean, if you've not, why not? I encourage you to do so. Steve Abramowitz is a good friend of the show. He makes appearances on the Matt Murphy Show from time to time, and I love what he's doing over at the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast. He interviews a lot of different types of folks. I mean, obviously, he does a good bit of politics, which is why he's frequently the number one show in politics on Podomatic. He's found on Deezer, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, all of your favorite podcast apps. You can find Steve and the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast right there. But it's more than just politics. They talk to cultural touchstone issues, entertainment, sporting figures. They have artists on, authors on. It's a complete, all-comprehensive podcast, and I encourage you to check it out. Plus, Steve is CEO and editor-in-chief of the Mill Creek View newspaper. Find them at mcview.us. That's mcview.us. You can find the podcast page right there as well. It's the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast.